Hey, how you guys doing? Back again with another episode of The It Factor, and I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson, and today we have somebody special. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Lavonya Jones. I used to work with Jeremy when he was a student. I'm so proud of him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So first off, man, how are you? How have you been doing? Everything like that.
I am better. I have recovered from COVID,
Mm-hmm.
So we are very thankful for that. And just trying to catch up on things. So it's a little intense, trying to catch back up on the semester, but it's good. Great things are happening.
I'm glad you're doing better.
Thank you. Me too. Because it's very ghetto. Just want to make that.
I already know. It's
very ghetto.
I haven't had it, but I know people that have. I ain't.
Don't
6 feet. But first off, how has it been a college professor? And what made you make that pivot into this space?
Yeah, so it is great.
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching students. I love when the light clicks and the aha moment goes off. How I stumbled into higher ed, I was a business coach who had come out of the entertainment industry. I had started my doctorate degree. In my last class in my program, I was doing research just on the state of small business in this country. It was pretty bad. It was real bad. It was real bad, and I realized that, we can't have a strong economy without strong small businesses. It's just not possible because small businesses employ 99% of the workforce. So I'm like, okay, we gotta fix this. But I have been working with adults, and adults are hard to work with, let me tell you, because they think they know everything. And it's like, well, what are you paying me for?
Well, I'm not here.
Right,
I definitely feel that way every day.
You know what I'm saying? Why?
I have another business outside of it.
I'll take your money, but if you're not going to listen, what are we really doing? What are we really doing? So, I realized I was an entrepreneurship major at HBCU, Hampton University, go Pirates. And I just felt like I could make a bigger impact in higher ed, because typically students go to college because they want to do something better with their lives. They may not even know what that better is.
Right.
They just at least know they want to do something better with their lives, which makes them a little bit more teachable. And so I said, you know what? I know a professor at Morehouse. I'm going to call her and see if I can help. So I literally cold called Dr. Belinda White, who is the GOAT of leadership development. She created how we do leadership development at Morehouse. She has since retired and is enjoying her retirement life. But yeah, I literally called her and was like, can I help in your class? I have corporate training experience, but I've never been in a classroom. And she was like, actually I need help. This couldn't be more perfect timing.
So it's straight.
So yeah, so that's how I became a professor. I really, being an entrepreneurship major at HBCU, and I had done stuff prior to that at Kennesaw State and Emory, and I saw the disparity between when we pitch and when they pitch, and the resources that they schools have compared to our schools. And I'm like, okay, I at least can attempt to fix this. So
it's like at a low totem pole, at the end of the day.
Yep. So as you know, I came here first, and then I was at Clark Atlanta. I built out the innovation lab there, and then Morehouse brought me back over here to do things around student development, and now I'm teaching entrepreneurship and innovation entrepreneurship.
So in that, I would say, why is your class important for a black student?
Man, so no one goes to college and wants to be broke, right?
Right.
You go to college because you want to make some money. That's typically the goal. And my class is typically students' first introduction to how wealth is really built. And it's so new, the concepts we cover in my class is so, because how many black people talk about venture capital?
Ain't that many.
Okay, yeah.
Unless, like we were saying before, scamming or something crazy.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah.
You don't even know. You got to research this and do this. It's
and then how many black people are talking about inventing things and getting patents and IPs and creating industries and building black unicorns, not just, most people I just want to have my little six figures or, maybe a couple million. But I'm like, nah, we building black unicorns, $1 billion firms.
Right. That's what we want.
In my class. I don't know what the rest of these people are doing, but in my class, We're building black unicorns. So it is, and then too, my class is not just for business majors. Like I have theater majors in my class. I have sociology, psychology majors, political science. So a lot of them, this is the first time they're hearing these business concepts. I bring a lot of speakers in my class that look like them and have done or are doing big things. So I think the biggest thing is it opens their world up to what's possible and allows them to dream bigger than maybe what they were dreaming before. But then the other piece is I bring in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that address poverty and sustainability in our communities, because we all know about Flint, Michigan.
Right.
And the reality is white people ain't fixing Flint, Michigan for us. So if we don't do it, who will? You know, and most black and brown communities are impacted by environmental issues and sustainability issues first. If you think about it, you're from a rural area.
Right.
How have farmers been impacted in your community?
They was very impacted, to the point of like my uncle had to, close down the farm for a little while during the pandemic. So
Yeah. You know, we think about Katrina and what happened with the levees. Like, it's always our community.
It's always us.
Right, but we don't know enough, because we don't have conversations around environmental justice, right? We always like, them the tree huggers. That's
they
them
got
folks.
it. They figured it out.
Yeah, but they're not fixing that for our communities, right? So I bring that into my class as well, because, I let my students know it's not just about starting a business that it will just make you money.
Right.
But how is your business improving the community you do business in? Because if it's not, we live in a time you won't be in business very long.
Right.
I mean, 40% of black businesses had to shut down in the pandemic.
Can't sustain.
So, and this Morehouse, right? This is the AUC, Atlanta University Center. Right. All our leaders done came out of here. So if we don't start with this group, then
who?
Right.
So I'm with you on that one. That's one of the reasons why I came to, the campus, because, with me going to Clark, Atlanta, me doing great things, now being an engineer and having the it factor, it's like a way to open up that light to say, hey, these are careers that you can do. But I work in this career, but I also do this as well. And I feel like a lot of black people, I know my mom wouldn't told me to do this. Because my mom was like, hey, you go get a job,
Right.
you're going to be fine.
Right. And I grew up in, you going to get you a good government job with benefits. So yeah, it's like, my mom, she just figured out like what I actually do.
I understand. My mom's still trying to figure it out. But like in that, what is your it factor? Why you do what you do?
I just want to see our people thrive, man. So there was a report, 2 reports. One that says black net worth will be 0 by 2053. So that's the first problem. Secondly, there's a report that says for a black child, born into poverty, it would take them 256 years to catch up to the wealth of a black family.
Man, that's crazy.
You don't even live that long. So essentially you don't have a chance. In the grand scheme of things, there are always exceptions to the rule, but when you look at the data overall, it's real bleak for our people. And I tell my students, like, we're either contributing to that problem or we're going to be a part of the solution. And I just chose to be a part of the solution. Like, we got $1 trillion buying power. We got everything in our community to shift it. But I tell people, like, for 400 years, we were the commodity.
Right.
So there was a whole economic system going on that we weren't privy to, because we were the ones being bought and sold.
Right.
So then we get free, and now we can somewhat enter the economy where we were the commodity in. So these folks got a 400-year head start on us.
You're right about
where they having conversations at the dinner table, at the family reunion about these things. And we have no clue. And we're trying to do business when we don't even fully understand how the economic system works. So that's why, like, I just want our people to thrive. And I want us to do well and not have a net worth of 0.
You're right about that. Because I think about me, coming from Fort Valley, like, one of my friends, I remember a white guy dropped out of school, but his dad had a mechanic, like, building everything for him. He doing that now, he probably a millionaire by now. Exactly. But I thought about myself, I was like, man, if I had this camera, if I set this stuff up, it would have took time to even get close to that. Even now being an engineer, like, to get even close to what he has. So I definitely was like, yeah, that's gotta change.
Yeah, like we and that's what I tell my students, like, what you see on Instagram, what you see on TV, that ain't how entrepreneurship really works. It's not, like, literally, because we don't have the access, right? We don't have the network. And I use Bill Gates as a prime example, because everybody wants to talk about Bill Gates, how he dropped out of Harvard and started Microsoft and all this stuff. But what they don't say is that his dad was a venture capitalist.
Thank you.
Number two, what they don't say is that his grandfather was John D. Rockefeller's advisor. So he had access
Everything.
that the typical black person doesn't have. Another person they like to bring up, the founder of Oracle, I can't think of his name right now. But they're like, oh, he was an orphan, and he was a self-made billionaire. Yeah, but he was adopted into a wealthy Jewish family. We know how the Jews get down. They got money.
Right.
And they also have their own cultural centers where they convene and take their children and they learn and they talk amongst themselves and share deals. He was in that world.
Yeah, none of us.
We're not in that world.
We ain't got that.
No. So yeah. So and then that was the other thing. Like, I know for us, typically college is where you build that network, where you build that social capital.
True.
Like, how many people go into business with their classmates, so they frat brothers.
Right.
And grow wealth together, do business together. That typically happens for us in college.
Yeah.
And I just thought I could make a better impact here.
Definitely pretty much what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
Like my friend's my media guy. He in Denver. That's the only reason he's not here today. But we always make money together.
Exactly.
But I would say, something that gets me when I was thinking about the question and just how I ask them. When it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
How is it a place for every black person? Like, where's our space in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so, that's a loaded question. Where do I start? So I'll start here. One, we all have gifts and talents that we can monetize. I used to always tell my clients, if you have something that you had to learn, there's typically somebody else that needs to learn that too, and you could charge them to train them to learn what you had to learn. So that's the first thing. We all have some type of skill. I don't care what the skill is. It could be how to put, a nail in a piece of wood. But everybody don't know how to put a nail in a piece of wood. Right. So you can go teach somebody. I don't know how to put don't give me no hammer and no nails. I don't know what to do with that, okay? so I would need to pay somebody to learn how to do that, right? Or put, a video course or something up. Like, people will pay for anything.
Anything. And they definitely need it. They see me with the podcast, they be like, hey, you know how to edit video? And I'd be like, no, my friend actually know how to do it, but he's writing a book now. And I'm like, bro, your book is going to be a bestseller.
Yes.
Because people always like, hey, bro, who do your videos? Who do this? Or how do you do podcasting? It's like, okay, I can tell you how it goes.
Yeah, so like we all have gifts and talents that we can monetize. And we were the ones that invented stuff. We had a traffic light, the iron, the heater,
GPS.
the GPS, all because of black inventors.
Right, and it's a laundry list. So.
Right, and we need to get back that spirit of innovation and invention in our community.
Right.
The other thing is we always talk about building legacy wealth, right? You hear a bunch of, I'm going to build a legacy, generational wealth. Generational wealth starts at $100 million. Net worth, not income. Net worth, $100 million. And research says that in order to build generational wealth, you need at least 8 cash flow vehicles. One of them can be a job, but you need at least 8. So, as black people, we got to get there. Most of our businesses never last beyond the first generation. So, my husband works for the H.J. Russell Center. He's program manager there. He's really big on financial literacy and things like that. So, he does a session for my class on how to build a 100-year family business. Because those aren't conversations we have.
And it's needed.
Right. Like, what does that entail? Down to you need to have a family constitution. You need to have a family board. Right. We don't talk about that. But that's how these families are having the Nestle family, the Levi family.
It's going to keep coming back. Every generation.
Yeah, so, for black people, man, we got to start having those conversations and stop, just being comfortable. Like, I got my Mercedes, I got my house, I can travel and I'm good.
I'm going to make sure my son and daughter doing this thing.
Right.
Keep my business
Exactly.
Because by that time, it's going to be like, before they get to college, like, hey, get into what your college student going here, get with your classmates, how you want to do it. I got you a business in high school. That's why I created it, so you can have it.
Right.
So that you can be like the student I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
You ain't dropping out though. But,
Right, exactly.
you know.
But I like to use, because everybody knows Janet Jackson, her ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 other brothers. There's 3 of them. When his dad died, he left them 59 businesses to run.
See.
That's how he's a billionaire. His dad left him 59 businesses that his dad had that he left his 3 brothers to run.
Man, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Can you imagine? So Janet's son,
Right.
he said, all he gotta do pick one.
Right.
Which business you want to run?
Pick 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like he don't have to worry about that.
Right.
So we need that type
Gotta
of
get
culture and monetary movement and things in our community, because we don't have that. Even though we have black billionaires, and you just think about, like Madam C.J. Walker is a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Who from her family still has the wealth she has? Do you still see Madam C.J. Walker's salons and products? Do you see them anywhere?
Because it's what you talked about. They didn't have a contract or like something to follow up with that every year.
No trust, no family trust.
Every century they should have had something that was going to come back.
Yep.
You know, so I definitely can say that. That's one thing I can say about my family. We do have some property on my dad's side that will be going to every generation throughout the time, and it's farmland as well.
Yep.
So like a lot of black people, I don't think they think about
We sell it, man.
the long term
Yeah.
of, I think 10 years ahead. And a lot of people, when you tell them that, they're like, huh? It's like, you never know what's going to happen in them 10 years. I might not be here in those 10 years, but the things I do in 2022 is going to take care of 2030.
Yep.
So
Yep.
definitely.
No matter what. So
in that, what is one of your ultimate life goals?
my ultimate life goals is to create a system where black and indigenous people can create unicorn businesses in the sustainable development goals, but then can also fund businesses in the sustainable. That's what I'm working towards. I want this community and the reason why I say black and indigenous, because when you look at the numbers, we're at the bottom of everything. Bottom of it, and then you got this whole indigenous erasure going on. Like, we don't even talk about them. Like, they just don't even be on none of the charts.
Right.
Nothing.
They just add them in as either black people. I seen it when I went to Northeastern. It was horrible.
See?
It's
See?
horrible.
Exactly.
You ain't from here? It's like, hey.
Yeah, so, I really, because we are impacted first and worst by those 17 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be the one building solutions, and we need to be the ones funding solutions for our own communities.
Right.
Nobody is coming to save us but us.
We need to stop thinking that.
That part.
So in that, before we close out, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, man. I'm just like, what is it like after Clark being in tech? Like, you going to school, coming from a rural community, and having the aspirations to be in tech, and like now you actually in tech. Like, what does that feel
to
like?
be a software engineer is a good thing, but it's good that I am that I have the skills and I'm gaining experience.
Yeah.
As far as the company I work for, it's some things that need to change for that
Yeah,
company to
that's
be
corporate,
anything. It's
Yeah.
corporate.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it gave me the tools to want to go be a college professor and
Yeah.
start my business. But also, like, I go home now and I be up late. Like, I'm working on the book now.
Nice.
Working on my second book.
Yeah, because I'm like, you already got
But
one. So
working on the
second
book
one.
now about the art of networking. Like, all the people I have
Nice.
networked with.
Yeah.
And I would say corporate America kind of opened your mind up to like, I can do more than just this, like 9 to 5 every day. So I would say now being in tech, it's so many changes that's needed, but it's already stuff that's in there. There's like so many people that I meet is like, hey man, you doing this? Okay, I'm gonna watch the show. Or how can I, help you out? Anything like that. So I would say it's a beautiful thing. It has been definitely a world changer for me.
Do you feel like Clark prepared you
To
go into the workforce in general?
As far as certain classes, yeah, not all classes, but as far as like the coding portions of everything, like when me being a software engineer for my time being one, that did. But I would say that the internships that I had, for, like work for the NASA's, working for GE and work for AT&T and now working for GM, like it all like helped me get the experience. Once I came back to classroom, what I was looking for. And I feel like a lot of my cohorts didn't get that because they didn't get that experience.
Yeah.
So if you go to any school, need it be a HBCU or a PWI, I feel like you do need experience.
Yeah.
Because any experience is anything. We got to stop thinking we got to get money up front with this experience too.
Right.
Because if I could go back, I promise you, I would have been doing some volunteering on campus.
Yeah.
Like, let me get in here and learn about how to fix a computer. Because you ain't learning that in no computer science class.
Nope.
Or no engineering courses.
Nope.
But if I knew that, that's some freelancing that I could have been doing, bringing in another
To
check.
get that experience.
So now I'm going back and like cleaning those things up. So when it comes to Clark, it really gave me the impact to grow up.
Yeah.
You know, I had to be on time. As you know, you go to HBCU, you got to be on time to take care of certain things when it comes to finances.
You're
going to miss out on everything. And I would say, as far as work, I'm the first one in. I ain't going to say I'm the first one in, the last one out, because it's not true.
Yeah.
But I'm the first one in and probably like one of the first ones to leave my job. And I turned my 9 to 5 into a 7 to probably 3.
Oh, nice.
Because of the fact, I come in and do my work, and I'm almost done at 12. Unless I have meetings or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's the discipline of, I would say, me being at Clark and like getting up and going to class, being early, like sitting outside, like, okay, waiting for the professor, what's going to happen? Like, okay, ready for this test. Like, it made me be able to be the person I am today.
Yeah. So if you could say something to a kid in rural America, very little exposure, but, you know, is looking to go to college, maybe get in tech. They got some tech skills, but they don't really know what's available. What would you say to that kid?
Oh, first I'll say email me because I'll help you out.
Right.
That's what I first to say. But secondly, I'll say go tell your mom to go to Barnes & Noble, any of your closed bookstores, and get that coding for dummies. Or get artificial intelligence for dummies, like anything like that, because that's the future.
Yeah.
You know, learning how these Teslas are operated, or learning how these computers are the metaverse. I can go down a whole list of how these things you need to learn. But if you get that coding for dummies, it's going to set you so much apart when you get to college and your classmates. Because I know I wish I had that. Because our first class
I need to go get this artificial intelligence for dummies.
Yeah,
I
you
need
got
that
to.
book.
It's straight up. It's like it's the new food. It's the future, man. So I would definitely say do that. And also just, you know, always believe in yourself. That math and science, like we used to say that take care of everything, but you need to put an application behind it.
Right.
Even though you're learning math and science, you got to see how the tech drives into it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, just because you learn that, it's so outdated.
Right.
You know, so tech changes every other week. Like, just being honest.
Listen, education changes every 20, 30 years.
Right.
So, okay, last question. And I don't know if you looked at this at all, so if you don't have an answer, it's fine. Do you have any thoughts around what should be done around accessibility for communities that still are not up to speed when it comes to the internet and access to tech and stuff like that? Okay, so wonderful. We have a lot of thoughts. So what do you think we need to do?
I think we need to see how we can get, like I said, I want to teach at community colleges. Yeah. But I think people need to get a trade again. Like in high school, you need to get a trade, because I talked to a young woman over in the UK, and she talked about how their university set them up in middle school. So I feel like here in America, we should adopt that culture to where when I was in school, I would say I want to cut hair. I learned how to do that
in school.
Or, hey, I want to be a tech guy, but I want to fix computers. You learn that in school instead of learning the traditional way. You learn the traditional way, but also by the time you graduate from high school, you have a certificate so that you can go out and make money, need you go to college. Yeah. So I definitely say we need to bring the old trade back. Like, there's people out here that don't know how to cook, don't know how to type. Like the simple things that I learned in school, they don't even teach it anymore.
Nope.
And I just graduated college in 2019 and graduated high school in 2014. It's only 2022. Yeah. So that's so.
They're taking so much of that out. I mean, because like my mom can sew her behind off because she took that in school.
Same. So yeah. So
my grandma didn't teach her how to sew. She learned that in school. So
So they need networks like that, and I definitely would be open to bringing that somewhere, like in Fort Valley, because if they got a center, me and my cousin was talking about it a couple weeks ago, and we always talk about like, man, he's in Alaska now. He's like, man, when I come back to Fort Valley, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And I was like, they need it. Whenever you do come back, I'm with you, man. You know? Because I feel like people need those that trade or like an innovation center where they can come in and bounce ideas off people and people listen.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Because, I'm from Atlanta. I grew up in the city. But, I do understand that most of America is still very rural. Mm-hmm. And we take for granted, rather, the things we have in the city that a lot of communities don't have. Like my husband's family, they're from Sparta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, the first time I went to Sparta, Georgia, I was like, where is the city? Why are we still on the road? Why is it taking us an hour off the highway to get to the city.
And it's crazy.
Why is the gas station closed? It's only 4 o'clock.
My fiance said the same thing when she came down coming from Maryland.
Yeah.
Coming from Maryland and going to a private school and all those different things.
Yeah.
Of course, we had a lot of like, yeah, I ain't do it that way. It's like I had to be an athlete. It's a reason why I did those things because those were the ways you see out. But it's not until you get a little older that you're like, I ain't gotta only do that.
Right.
You know, so with those, I feel like, yeah, it's a small town. It's messed up that like sometimes some roads don't even got GPS to it.
See what I'm saying?
But
they still
it's
got
like,
dirt roads in spot of real life.
Yeah, same thing really. You know, you ain't gonna see them, but like they everywhere. Like it's crazy. So I feel like to get people out of the mindset of thinking that's the only place they are. So like when I was in high school, one last thing that goes with it too, if people take trips to like Maryland or DC or Cali, or if you do that at a young age, I promise you it's gonna like change the impact how your life gonna be.
Yeah.
So I definitely.
Exposure is key. It's very.
Cause I know when I left and I think I just went to Tuskegee. We went to Tuskegee campus and then we went to Auburn, and then yes, it's just Alabama. But going to those totally different campuses,
outside of your
a lot of us was like, wait a minute, you know, this is it. And then my mom took me to different places. Like we went to NASA and we seen how different engineers work. And once you see one that looked like you, like, well, I can do it too. Come on.
Exactly.
You know, so.
Yeah, same here. Like, I mean, even growing up in the city, like I grew up in the hood, but my godmother was an educator.
Mm-hmm.
So she would take me, we had a planetary museum here, and you know, she would just take me all over the place. She's an AKA, so I was in their little college prep program and debutantes, and you know, we would go places. But, you know, so that's how I got the exposure. Because my mom didn't graduate college.
Gotcha.
My sister went to college. But it was really from both my sister and my godmother that really exposed me to the world outside of the SWATs.
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, what could be possible, you know. Cause so yeah, that exposure is real key.
Definitely.
Well, awesome.
Thank you for the day.
Thank you.
And that's the
This is
Instructor.
great. Yeah.